Okay, here's the underside of the Triumph Tr4A. I'm sorry, Tr4. It's 1964 Tr4. As you can see, the metal is really solid. This lower valence. Okay, if you look, you can see the exhaust. It's probably original, which is really unusual to see. You see the rear end. There's a decent amount of muck right along in here, so it's probably leaking some oil or something along those lines. But this is for the emergency brake. And as you can see, I mean, this is the all original setup. You know, it's kind of mucky, but it's the all original setup here. And if you go forward, you can also see the setup for the e-brake along in here. You look at the frame rails. The frame rails are just straight, clean. There's virtually no rust. They're just surface rust, and that's it. If you look here, you can see all the way down the frame rail, all the way down. You see the apron. The apron's in just basically immaculate shape, really. Up here, no one jacked the car improperly, so that's looking real good up here. Decent amount of muck on the back of the brakes. Clearly the brakes have been done at some point. It looks like new rotors, new calipers. You can see the hoses. Again, don't have any records of that, but it's pretty clear that that's been done. I actually pulled the steering rack and put in new aluminum blocks. It's really cleaned up the steering quite a bit, as well as these ball joints, put those in. But as you can see, all along in here, it's really solid. It's really solid. It's got the, you know, the dealer undercoating underneath the fenders. That's about it. There's not a bunch of undercoating or goop underneath the rest of the vehicle. If you look on the driver's side, you can see again, you know, real solid, real tight. The worst part of the car and the body is right there. And there's a patch panel that I've got for it. You know, it's real common. That's when the drain tubes just would go right into this panel. But if you look inside here, the box rigger is real straight, tight. There's no other indications of rust anywhere on this panel or nearby. Underneath, I think somebody must have painted just right along in here, and you can see little paint drips right along in there. You know, I painted like this right along this line. It's like black. Actually, it looks darker green. I didn't even notice it until I put it up on the lift. This back part is solid. Okay, you got that. That's another spot right there. If you look underneath, you can see underneath it's very solid, real tight. Again, if you look at all the different little fittings and stuff, no one's taken this thing apart. You can really tell. No one's taken it apart here. You know, of course, it's going to need, you know, some new rubber, you know, here and there. You know, but this is just basically all original, untouched. You look at the frame rails. I mean, you really don't get a Tr4 with the frame rails that really look like this. I mean, there's just no indication of rust. I mean, just surface rust, and that is just about it. Which frankly is a little surprising now that I look at it. Got new rubber fuel line. You look at that apron. I mean, that apron, there's nothing, it hasn't been all banged up. You look at the floorboards, they haven't been all banged up. This is for like the seats. You see the original, rubber here. That's where you can apparently run the jack through from the inside of the vehicle, which is kind of funny, very quirky. You look down here, you know, I mean, it definitely leaks oil. You know, I wiped it down and stuff, but of course it leaves a little bit of oil, you know, a decent amount. You know, it leaves a little puddle. You know, after about a week, and I'll try to take a photo of kind of how big of a puddle it does leak. Looks like, boy, it looks like we might actually be missing a couple of bolts here, but maybe that's probably why it kind of leaks a little bit. Of course, this is the overdrive. You can see the overdrive right here. You unscrew that, and that's how you drain the overdrive. And here you can see on the clutch here, clutch hose, new clutch hose and stuff, and that's why I think the clutch slave and the master cylinder have been replaced at some point in the past. But again, I don't have any records of that, but it seems fairly clear that's what it is. But boy, the more I look at it, the more I like, boy, I don't really want to sell it, but generally I just have to. I can see up here, you can definitely see a blown out motor mount. Boy, look at that. Yeah, that motor mount is pretty much gone. This motor mount, same thing, you know, and you'll see now the motor does bounce around a bit when it's at idle. You know, it bounces around, but boy, yeah, you can definitely see the motor mounts be. That motor mount's gone, that motor mount's gone. Those need to be replaced. On the back, clean up, muck, you know, muck there, you know. But I mean, overall, it's a very straight and clean underside of the body and the frame, which is really kind of impressive. All right, thanks.